Hello, this is Dr. Zhao again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue with the historical figures. Last time we talked about the Han, the founding emperor of the Han Dynasty, Bei Liu, and his family, his wife Zhuge Liu, and Empress Zhuge Liu, and also his descendant, the Emperor Zhang, Emperor Guan, Emperor Wu. There's three generations, and from grandfather, father, and grandson. So that brought the Han Dynasty to the peak, prosperous and stabilized the politics, the military, and the nation's kind of the most prosperous time. After each nation or authority established, there's some shaking on trying to find a way until a couple of generations, several decades at least, or half a century to really stabilize, find identified paths for the country. And after these three emperors started going downward and become to a lot of rebellions, and then Zhuge Liu is another historical figure I mentioned, established the East Han in the Henan province. I think it's the middle land of the country, along the Yellow River, and Zhuge Liu is the figure. Now, after the East Han Dynasty, still a lot of rebellions, and because there are several young emperors to inherit the throne. It's just like Edward. The Henry VIII passed the power to Edward, and then his maternal uncle hold the power, and then eventually there's some shaking political enemies, and then so it's the same for that dynasty. So because there is a young emperor, so then there's some people really holding the power, holding the emperor to rule. So that causes a lot of rebellions and unpeaceful, either from the palace or from the common ordinary people. So, like for example, toward the end, the last emperor, I think is called the the Emperor Xian. He was young, so there around him was Zhang. It was very chaotic, one after another. There was a schematic person, and the last one was Zhang. This person is kind of very vicious, very powerful. Many people do not like him, because he's too brutal and vicious. So during his rule, there are a lot of rebellions, a lot of local forces in different area, different region. So start from there. There's a very important person called Bei Liu. This person is it's knight-like. It's very brave, very strong. Nobody can defeat him. However, he's not quite wise. But he had the contribution to kill the Zhang. Because he did that, so then the other person start to rise. Like Cao is the one. Cao tried to kill Zhang, but Dong couldn't make it. So he has to flee, and he flee in a small town. Met a person called Chen, and Chen was very wise. A small official of little town recognized him but did not say it. So put in a special place, and later on privately talked to him, said, I know who you are, I know you're in the flee, I know the palace Zhang is looking for you, but I will follow you, let's just fight together, we're going to rebel. So at the same time, then so then they both went back, tried to fight, and then later on they divided because they have different opinions. So Cao and this Chen with Liu killed Zhang. So then at this time, Cao just luckily he was with the emperor, the young emperor, escaped. So then later on he just claimed he's the prime minister because he has the king. The king cannot do anything, so the king was really just a puppet under his hand. So this is how he started. Cao, the major nation in the transition period. So since Dong is fell, and also the Xian, the Emperor Xian was in Cao's hand. At the same time, the West is Liu, Bei. His first name is Bei. He was the descendant from the Jing, Emperor Jing, Emperor Wen, Emperor Wu. So he had the power to claim, but he did not. He couldn't. He just belonged to the royal, but he already in the very poor class, just selling small things to live for livings. The same idea. Actually, Xu was started the same idea. Xu was also descendant of Liu's emperor family, but because it's remote and just falling down to the ground, and also live very poor situation, but eventually fought back and established the East hand. The same idea for this Bei. On the east or southeast along the Yangtze River, there's another group called Wu country. Bei Sun is the emperor. So now this is the Tri-nation period. At the middle, the main nation was the Cao and Emperor Xian, and at the west is Bei and his three very famous, very brave three commanders fought with him. That's why he established the nation. And on the east of south area along the Yangtze River, it's very rich. The nation, the area was very rich because the region, the nature, and also the family has inherited many generations. So that's why it's very rich. So now it's the Tri-nation state. It's a balance. Nobody can take over others. After lots of small forces fight each other, eventually became this three major powers, either the middle and the south, west, and the southeast. So this is the Tri-nation period. During this Tri-nation period, there's some important people like I said, Cao and a lot of his people. He had so many advisors, so many commanders. The force was unmatchable because of he held the emperor. So that's the country, the real country. On the southwest Bei, he had one advisor called Zhuge. This person was almost like a god. I mean, it's not a god, but it's just too perfect to be true. But a lot of stories about him. Everybody believed that, but now I think people start to question if one person in history is perfect, that means probably he's the one hold the power to write the perfect history. But anyway, so Bei, the character of Bei is very soft, very tender, very gentle. Even always cry a lot of time if he had difficulty or life is too sad, he just cry out. On the other hand, he's kind. A lot of time, many times people try to give him a good reputation anyway. And he had the three military leaders, Guan and Zhang and Zhao. So this is the southwest group. And these are all the characters you can search, especially for Guan. I think a lot of people worship him, has a name tag on the wall, or to worship him as a semi-god, this Guan, because he's such righteous, brave, and also very loyalty to Liu, to Bei. And on the southeast area, Quan Sun is the one, and he had some advisors or important people to fight with him, but it's not as famous as Bei's group. Bei had the most very well-known people to fight with him. So these are, in terms of Sun's character, Sun is very, knowing that he treated his mother very well, even though it's not, I think it's his stepmother, but he treated her very well. And he is also very hot-tempered, very straightforward, very well educated. So this is about Sun. In terms of Cao, history had, I think, obscured his identity. Think he's not good. Think he's the political, a lot of schematic, and actually in real life, he probably had a really politician mind. He can hold, he is very tolerant, endure all the people, and he's a good poet. He wrote a lot of very valuable poem or the essays, and he's also very visionary, and he's very wise. I think that's why he never called himself emperor, even though he had chance, but he did not. On the other hand, his son started to call him emperor, to start to establish a nation, a dynasty, but he did not. He always called himself as a prime minister, even though he held the power. So I think the history sometimes just confused. Like Zhuge is so perfect and Cao is so bad. So nowadays it's kind of start to change. Personally, I think I really think Cao is need to reconsider. He is a reasonable and political, very wise person, not just like used to say he's schematic or he's so evil. So, but anyway, this is so I'm just through here for the important historic figures Cao, Bei, and Sun during Tri-Nation period. If you're interested, you can definitely read the Legend of Tri-Nation. Also, you can search these important people. You'll find a lot of so many interesting stories, very entertaining and also very wise, actually. The Legend of Tri-Nation written in very wise, very deep in terms of human mind, human thought, and the knowledge, and also with entertainment. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching. I hope these kind of explanation can give you some hint, or if you want to find more about that into your writing. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.